Hey guys, so real quick, I want to talk a little bit about Hellraiser 2022. It's on Hulu now.
It's time.
And I'm just going to put it straight up out there. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I think if you enjoy the Hellraiser movies for what they are already, then you'll find a reason to like this one. I do like that it makes a few changes to the lore or mythos of the box itself. There's multiple configurations to the box, and there's things you can do with the box to eventually like gain this wish, more or less. Even though all the wishes have a curse attached to them that you wouldn't really know until you accept it. This movie does a good job of kind of laying the groundwork of a couple of changes they make to the mythos or the lore that is Hellraiser. I didn't know for the longest that these movies were based on a book or a novel by Clive Barker, The Hellbound Heart. Had no idea. This is coming from a guy, just disclaimer, this is coming from a guy who's only watched the first Hellraiser and Hellraiser Judgment, the 2018 film, which I thought that one was actually pretty good. A lot of people were kind of giving it flack, but they said it actually was a good sequel compared to some of the other movies. So I haven't seen the second one, which I know has a little more information on Pinhead himself. Haven't seen the third one that I believe, from what I've read, makes the Cenobites or Pinhead himself more or less just a straight up evil, entity, more than kind of how this movie goes into what the Cenobites are. Not going into anything deep as far as the movie itself, so really no spoilers, but I will say that I liked the additional lore that it added and kind of change up from the original film. This is not a remake. This is more like a retelling from the novel. And I have not read the novel, so I know some people have said it kind of veers off from that a little bit. But this movie, it did what I kind of expected it to do. It was a slow burn type horror film, which most Hellraiser movies are. It's more about body mutilation and gore than jump scares or things of that nature. But I also like how the scary moments of the movie are really more about the story and how these Cenobites try to entice you to take on these different configurations and or wishes so that they can see or receive pleasure from what they get to do to you based on the choice that you choose. And that's one thing I liked about this. Everything that happened to people, to a degree, not everything, but to a degree, most of the things that happened to some of these people were because they chose it. Now, there are moments where the Cenobites do seem very evil because they make certain people make choices in this movie, or they make choices for people so that they can do what they do to them in very violent ways. So there are moments where it's like, okay, no, they are bad because they are also seeking pleasure. And for them, they don't see the difference between pleasure and pain and suffering. It's all kind of the same to them. So if you're looking for a movie that gives you some good scares, like jump scares, this movie doesn't have that. If you're looking for more body mutilation or just scary images, scary imagery, this movie has that for you. While it's not like, for me, it wasn't very scary. It's the thought of the story that's happening that kind of adds to the horror of it all. Plus, I liked the comparison or parallel of what's happening to these people with the box itself, and Pinhead and just these Cenobites, and also kind of the parallel to addiction. They kind of weave that in and out between this because Riley, the main character, she's addicted to alcohol, but she also is addicted to pills and things of that nature. Then you got the main guy, Voight, who we see in the beginning of the movie, who's this rich guy who's just been looking for all kinds of pleasure, and now he's looking for pleasure in other dimensions, more or less. And that's how he kind of comes into contact with these Cenobites in the box and all that. He's just addicted to the pleasures of life, and he wants something more, and he gets more than he bargained for. So I like that parallel. It works in this scenario because of some of the changes they made to the lore, so that worked. But this is not more or less a scary movie, at least for me. If you scare easily, it might work for you. But there are no jump scares. There are very scary things that'll, maybe haunt your nightmares if you're just not used to scary movies. Some of the Cenobites in this movie, again, are brought back from, the original first film. Again, it's all based on the book, so I wouldn't really say they're brought back because this is all in the book. But yeah, it's nice to see. And it was also nice to see that they went away from the more or less leather-clad Cenobites from the first film with some mutilation to these are like the mutilation of what they're wearing. Their clothes really aren't clothes. It's just the body, and it's torn into different segments and pieces to make it look like an outfit. It was very grotesque, but I loved it. It looked great, and the images are scary. But the movie itself, again, not very scary. The story overall is what kind of brings the horror about, which is fine. I think that's fine. Have you seen Hellraiser 2022? Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the movie. These are just a few of my thoughts on the film. Didn't want to go too deep into it. Again, I'm not like an expert when it comes to Hellraiser. I've only seen the first film, the original, and the 2018 film, Hellraiser Judgment, which I did actually really enjoy. But I want to go back and watch the other ones. But again, this felt very much like a Hellraiser film of what I know. And I think if you like Hellraiser, you'll like this movie too. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this movie if you checked it out, or if you will check it out. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Just a few of my thoughts on this movie. Again, it was a fun watch. But I want to know what you guys think. Members, subscribers, watchers, however you support the channel, I really appreciate it. It's really awesome that you support. Other than that, I will see you guys as always on the next video. Take care.